stop everything. Right now, I am serious about this. If you have old pennies, jars of change, or coins passed down in your family, you may be holding life-changing money without knowing it. 3 Lincoln Wheat Pennies are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and most people already destroyed them before realizing what they had. They don't look rare. That's why they're dangerous. People spent them for 1 cent, cleaned them to make them shiny, threw them away. Every mistake erased a fortune forever. Collectors don't search casually anymore. They hunt, because there are almost none left that survived untouched. When one of these wheat pennies appears at auction, bidding doesn't climb, it explodes. No hesitation. No mercy. Prices jump because everyone knows the truth. Once it's gone for good. The worst part? Some are still out there. In drawers. In jars. In pockets. Being ruined right now by someone who thinks it's nothing. So stop. Don't clean. Don't spend. Don't assume. Because the most painful loss isn't losing money. It's never knowing you already did. Stop everything. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not teasing clicks. I'm serious about this. The 1951 D Wheat Penny is one of the most misunderstood coins ever released into American pocket change. Not because it's flashy, not because it screams rare, but because it looks so ordinary that people destroyed its value without hesitation for over 70 years. This penny passed through millions of hands, gas stations, grocery stores, school cafeterias, coffee counters. People flicked it, scratched it, cleaned it, dropped it, and spent it again and again. Every time someone treated it like nothing, the surviving supply quietly shrank. And that's where the danger begins. Because value doesn't come from what a coin is. Value comes from what survives. The Denver Mint produced a massive number of pennies in 1951. On paper, that sounds like bad news. People hear millions minted and instantly assume worthless. That assumption destroyed more valuable coins than any fire or flood ever could. Most 1951 D Wheat pennies were wiped clean with cloths, chemicals, fingers, and pocket friction. The wheat lines flattened. Lincoln's coat blurred. Lettering softened. Surfaces were scratched in the name of making it look better. And every one of those actions silently erased money. Here's the truth collectors understand, and most people don't. A common coin in uncommon condition is where real money hides. High detail 1951. D Wheat pennies didn't survive because people were careful. They survived by accident. Forgotten rolls. Untouched jars. Collections where someone didn't interfere. Those are the pieces that now cause tension when they appear for sale. Because when a truly strong 1951 D surfaces, collectors don't relax. They lean forward. This coin is hunted for its condition, its strike quality, its untouched surfaces, and its survival against human behavior. Most people were the enemy of this coin's future value without knowing it. And the scariest part is this. People are still making the same mistakes today. Right now, somewhere, someone is cleaning a 1951 D Wheat penny because they think shiny equals valuable. They're wiping history off the surface. They're destroying originality. They're turning a potentially desirable coin into permanent pocket change. Once that damage is done, it can never be undone. No repair, no fix, no second chance. Collectors don't pay premiums for clean. They pay for untouched. That's why auctions get tense when strong examples appear. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet pressure, quick bids, sudden jumps. Because the people in the room understand something others don't. There won't be many more chances. Every year, fewer original 1951 D Wheat pennies exist than the year before. Not because they're melting away, but because people keep ruining them without realizing what they're doing. And here's where the regret really hits. Most of these pennies were never lost. They were misused. They sat in jars for decades. They were inherited. They were passed down. Someone opened a container, didn't recognize the value, and treated them like clutter. Maybe they rolled them. Maybe they spent them. Maybe they cleaned them just to see. That single moment erased future money forever. The 1951 D Wheat penny doesn't punish ignorance immediately. That's what makes it cruel. The loss doesn't hurt today. It hurts years later, when someone finally learns what they had and realizes it's gone. And yes, truly exceptional examples command serious prices, not because of hype, not because of myths, but because survival at that level is rare, brutally rare. This coin teaches the hardest lesson in coin collecting. Condition is fragile, and ignorance is expensive. If you ever come across a 1951 Wheat penny, the most important thing you can do is nothing. Don't clean it. Don't test it. Don't polish it. Don't assume it's common just because you've seen others. Look at the details. The wheat lines, Lincoln's jaw, the lettering, the surface. Ask yourself one question before you do anything else. Has this coin survived, people? Because if it has, it might be worth far more than you think. And if you destroy that survival, you'll never know what you lost. That's the real horror of the 1951 Wheat penny. Not that it's rare, not that it's expensive, but that so many people already had their chance and spent it for 1 cent. I'm serious. This is not background noise. The 1945 Wheat penny is one of the most quietly dangerous coins ever released into American pocket change. Not because people ignored it, but because they thought they understood it. They saw the date. They saw the mint mark. They assumed it was common. And that assumption destroyed more value than any fire, flood, or theft ever could. This coin was born at the end of World War II. America was exhausted. Metal shortages were fresh in memory. Pennies were being produced fast, handled rough, and spent hard. Nobody was thinking about preservation. Nobody was thinking about condition. They were thinking about survival, speed, and daily life. That's how valuable coins die. The Denver Mint struck millions of 1945 pennies. On paper, that sounds like the end of the story. But paper numbers don't survive real life. People do damage. Pockets do damage. Cleaning does damage. Time does damage. And the 1945 Wheat penny went through all of it. Most of these coins never had a chance. They were shoved into pockets with keys, scraped across counters, dropped on concrete, rolled by machines, cleaned by hand, polished by mistake. Every single action shaved away detail. Lincoln's coat, the wheat lines, the lettering, all slowly erased. And here's the part nobody talks about. The 1945 Wheat penny is not hunted because it's rare in name. It's hunted because true survivors are rare. Collectors don't look for this coin casually. They look for sharp strikes, strong wheat lines, original surfaces, clean fields, no harsh cleaning, no damage disguised as shine. Coins that somehow survived 70-plus years of abuse by people who didn't know what they were holding. That survival is what creates value. Most people accidentally became the enemy of this coin. They thought cleaning helped. They thought spending didn't matter. They thought all old pennies were the same. And every one of those thoughts destroyed future money. Right now, somewhere, someone is holding a 1945 Wheat penny and making the same mistake. They're rubbing it, scraping it, testing it, rolling it, turning a potentially valuable coin into permanent pocket change. And they won't feel the loss today. They'll feel it later, because the loss with coins like this doesn't scream. It whispers, years after the mistake is already permanent. Collectors understand something painful. There are far fewer untouched 1945 Wheat pennies than people realize. Not because they were never made, but because people erase them. When strong examples appear at auction, there's tension, not excitement. Tension, quiet competition, sudden jumps. Because experienced collectors know they may not see another like it for a long time. This coin doesn't reward attention. It rewards restraint. Doing nothing is what preserves value. Doing something destroys it. That's why the 1945 D is such a psychological trap. It doesn't look special enough to scare people into caution. It looks normal, familiar, safe, and that's why it's dangerous. Many of these pennies sat in jars for decades. Inherited collections, old drawers, coffee cans. Someone eventually opened them, saw just pennies, and treated them like clutter, rolled them, spent them, cleaned them to see what they look like. That single moment erased decades of survival. And once original surfaces are gone, they're gone forever. No fix, no undo, no second chance. Collectors don't pay premiums for shiny. They pay for untouched history. That's why the 1945 Wheat penny continues to rise in demand among serious collectors. Not because it's flashy, not because it's trendy, but because every year, fewer acceptable examples exist. Time isn't destroying these coins. People are. If you ever find a 1945 Wheat penny, the most important decision you'll make is what you don't do next. Don't clean it. Don't test it. Don't assume it's common. Don't rush. Look at the details. Look at the wheat lines. Look at Lincoln's profile. Look at the surface. Ask yourself one question before anything else. Did this coin survive, people? Because if it did, it might be worth far more than you expect. And if you destroy that survival, you'll never know what you lost. That's the real horror of the 1945 Wheat penny. Not that it exists, not that it's old, but that so many people already had their chance and erased it without ever knowing. Stop everything. I mean it. This is not background noise. The 1951 Wheat penny is one of the most deceptively dangerous coins ever placed into American hands. Not because it's rare at first glance, not because it looks expensive, but because it looks too normal, and that normal look convinced millions of people to destroy its value without a second thought. This penny came from a time when coins were tools, not collectibles. People didn't slow down for them. They didn't protect them. They didn't preserve them. They spent them hard, dropped them harder, and cleaned them when they got bored. And every one of those actions quietly erased future money. That's how this coin became a trap. The Philadelphia Mint struck an enormous number of wheat pennies in 1951. On paper, that should mean nothing special. That's what most people still believe today. But here's the reality collectors understand. Mintage numbers don't survive people. People rub coins. People clean coins. People stack, roll, scratch, and polish coins. And the 1951 Wheat penny went through all of it. Most examples lost their sharpness early. Lincoln's jaw softened, his coat flattened. The wheat lines blurred together. The fields picked up scratches, stains, and wipes that can never be undone. By the time anyone cared, the damage was already permanent. And that's the moment value begins. Because value doesn't come from age alone. It comes from survival. High detail. Original 1951 Wheat pennies didn't survive because someone planned it. They survived by accident. Forgotten rolls. Drawers that stayed closed. Jars no one touched. Collections where someone resisted the urge to improve the coin. Those survivors are the ones collectors fight over. This coin isn't hunted loudly. It doesn't create hype headlines. Instead, it creates quiet competition. When a truly strong 1951 Wheat penny appears, experienced collectors don't celebrate, they focus. Because they know how rare it is to see one that hasn't been damaged by human hands. And the most painful part? People are still destroying them today. Right now, someone is holding a 1951 Wheat penny and cleaning it because it looks dull. Someone is rubbing it with a cloth. Someone is dropping it into a roll. Someone is spending it because it's just a penny. They don't feel the loss. Not today. They'll feel it years later, when they finally learn what condition means and realize they erased it forever. The 1951 Wheat penny doesn't punish mistakes immediately. That's what makes it cruel. The damage hides. The regret comes later. Collectors don't pay premiums for shine. They pay for original surfaces. They look for untouched fields, sharp wheat lines, clear lettering, natural color, coins that survive decades of neglect without being helped. Those pieces are scarce, far scarcer than most people realize, and that scarcity grows every year. Not because time is destroying these coins, but because people keep making the same mistakes. Many 1951 Wheat pennies sat quietly for decades in inherited collections, old coffee cans, desk drawers. Someone eventually found them and treated them like clutter, rolled them, cleaned them, spent them. One careless moment erased decades of survival. There's no undo button for that. Once originality is gone, it's gone forever. No fix, no repair, no second chance. That's why this coin creates such deep regret stories. Not because people miss buying one, but because they already had one and destroyed it themselves. If you ever come across a 1951 wheat penny, the most important decision you will make is restraint. Don't clean it. Don't test it. Don't assume it's common. Don't rush. Hold it. Look closely. Examine the wheat lines, Lincoln's profile, the surface. Ask yourself one question before doing anything else. Did this coin survive, people? Because if it did, it may be worth far more than you expect. And if you destroy that survival, you'll never know what you lost. That's the real horror of the 1951 wheat penny. Not that it exists, not that it's old, but that so many people already had their chance and erased it without ever realizing.